Mattel obviously has a multi-pack problem, whether it be re-releasing the same cars from the previous multi-pack just with new packaging, or re-releasing, even if it's new cars to multi-packs, they won't actually release any new characters or even variants. And today I'm going to explain how they could fix that, and some possibilities for multi-packs that I think be a good idea. So the first big reason is they do not have any new characters. Now, the last multi-pack with a new character, I'd say, I don't know, I want to say it was probably the George Newman pack, and that was over a year ago, almost a year, about a year ago right now. And there's, unless you're counting corrected Punchy Wipeout, but I'm not going to technically count that. It's not a new character, however, it was a new variant, and it is one that I picked up because it looks so much nicer than the old one. But that one is a very good move on Mattel's part from a money-making standpoint. They just get to throw some new random characters in there, and then they just correct the Punchy Wipeout variant and just throw them in there. And people will buy it because it's like a corrected character. And it's not completely corrected. I do think that this white to blue fade could be a little bit more yellow like it is in the movie, but I actually think that this one is a bit closer to being accurate than the one that they released a little bit later as a single. I think that one was a little bit too yellow, so I guess maybe if they were to do something in between, it would look a lot nicer. Now, you also had like Mater with Lightning Bolt, who was re-released in like 3 other multi-packs after his original release. And while it's a really cool character, a variant, unfortunately people don't like it because he's been re-released so many times. I guess don't hate the player, hate the game, don't hate Mater with Lightning Bolt, hate Mattel for putting him in like every single multi-pack. It would be a solid release if it were to be exclusive to that single pack. But yeah, I actually think he's pretty cool. He doesn't look that bad. But yeah. You also had like the Next Gen 4 pack and for the Cars 3 line that had all 4 new cars. They have not done that. That was like a big thing. Flipped Over, Barry DePedal, Steve Slick LePage, and J.D. McPillar. Flip is the only one that has not been re-released since. Steve hasn't, but he has been re-released as XRS versions. The normal Flip has not been re-released, and the normal Steve has not been re-released. J.D. McPillar has been in a few more multi-packs, but has not been a part of the main line. And of course, Barry DePedal has since been released a few times as a single. The second reason is, what was I going to say? It's all Cars 3 focused. The last few multi-packs, actually, for the last time up until a few weeks ago, it was all Cars 3 multi-packs. And being that, there's unfortunately not a whole lot that they've been able to do with that, despite all the potential they've had. The only one since the Cars 3 line that has not had all Cars 3 characters, I believe it would be the new Alberto pack, which was a Cars 2 pack. And even still, that pack didn't have any new characters, and it wasn't even like, what do I call it, like a major re-release. Alberto was not rare at all, unless you're living in like a country where he wasn't produced. And even still, that multi-pack wouldn't make it to those countries. So doing that was basically just grabbing some extra molds they had, and I guess they threw it in there, which I guess sort of makes sense, but obviously that's not what anyone wants to see. And that was the first ever release of Jeff Gorvette as like a non-China variant, and I think we can all agree that it doesn't look too good. And another reason is that I think I've sort of went over this, but they just kind of re-release all the same cars. It's like you don't get a wide variety. You get like the same cars like Floyd Mulvihill. You occasionally have a Todd Marcus. Floyd Mulvihill, Jack DePost, Rex Revler all seem to get re-released in a lot of the multi-packs. Tommy Highbanks got included in a new one. And there's like no love for the cars such as Ernie. Actually, Ernie was in a few. Was he? I don't know. Like Phil Tankson, Lane Locke, even cars like I don't know. Carl Clutchin was in a few. Buck Bearingly even. Jimmy Cables hasn't been released for a hot minute. Terry Cargas was re-released in a few of those. However, they never corrected his mold. Bruce Miller, Dirksen D'Agostino, even Reb Meeker hasn't had a whole lot of attention. John Jurafsky, Marcus Schrenkler, T.J. Casanat, Ralph Carlo, pretty much Brian Spark. Yeah, all those guys have not had a lot of attention when it comes to multi-packs. They've been re-releasing the same cars over and over again. Even Mater with Lightning Bolt hat, even though he hasn't been in some of the recent ones, which is a good thing to see, I guess. They're finally retiring that car. Now to what I think they should do is, obviously, they should start putting at least one new character. It doesn't matter if it's like a 3-pack, a smallest, an 11-pack. As long as you get one new character, I'd say that the pack is probably worth it. It doesn't matter if it's like a variant, like maybe with Lightning Bolt hat. Could be an entirely new car, like maybe squeaky chair. We could do like Jim Reverick as a new car, Next Gen Vinyl Toupee, or even like Brickyard, the sponsor, and that's something I'm going to talk about in a second here. They could definitely use some more cars, it could really be anything. You could do a variant like Mater with Puffy hat, or the Speed Tracker could be a good idea. The Speed Tracker was actually canceled. There was at least one picture of the Speed Tracker with like 196 on it. Like there's only one picture I've ever seen of it, and I'm not sure what that was supposed to be released in. Maybe, I don't know, maybe as some kind of weird accessory. But unfortunately, that Speed Tracker never made it out. So I guess predictions. Well, these are not predictions. These are some ideas I came up with a while ago. They should be in my Dream Diecast line video. So I'm just going to kind of rephrase that. One good idea would sort of fall along the lines of correcting variants. That would be Cam Spinner. It would be a multi-pack. It would include, I believe it was Jack and Storm, Cruz Ramirez. I'm trying to think of who it was. Like Sheldon Shifter or something. I don't know. Two other next gens, and then corrected Cam Spinner as a 5-pack. And I think that would be a worthwhile pack. Cam Spinner is a very popular diecast, even though he's inaccurate with the black eyes instead of the blue ones, the light blue ones. Although he does appear in the movie with black eyelids, but I think I'd much rather prefer the light blue eyelid one, since it looks a lot better. It matches up with the other variants of him, such as the Rocket Racer, and it just overall looks a lot nicer than the black eyes. Another one would be a 3-pack, and that is, well, actually, it could be it could be a 4-pack. It will include Tyler Gremlin and the 3 cars that from like that flower shop, that Phoenix Missile, knocked over all the flowers, put the blame on Tyler. They could easily do those. It's a little bit of like a smaller hero, and then you have like 2 Ruka models. So Mattel does have the mold. I don't believe they have some of those molds from Thailand, but it would definitely be a possibility, and I think a lot of people would buy that pack because 3 new characters, and you also get a major re-release in Tyler Gremlin, who is worth a lot of money now. Another idea, this is a bit of a bigger one, but it would be a London pack, sort of like the one they did in the Cars 2 line, I believe, where they had like the London Chase, Captured Professor Z, Phoenix Missile, and it would include like Flo, Tubbs Pacer, with spray paint, and then it would also include Sarge, Josh Coolant, and then Andy Gearsdale, and all those other military vehicles. I think like a solid 4, maybe even 5 other of those vehicles. They'd obviously have to create some new molds, but I think that would be one of the most, it would probably be the greatest multi-pack they've ever done. So many unique cars in there. It would definitely be a big seller. So if anyone at Mattel is watching this, that's the idea. Do all those military vehicles from that London scene in Cars 3. Not Cars 2. Big money maker right there, and that's coming from someone who would definitely be willing to spend quite a bit of money on it if I were to see it at Target. The one problem with that is a lot of those cars are closer to a deluxe size, so they'd have to go back to some of the packaging from that Cars 2 line, which is a bit bigger and could probably fit those bigger military vehicles in there, as well as these smaller vehicles like Sarge and Flo. The final idea I had, actually there's two. It would be three actually. It would include what's his name? It would be the all-in-all blowout 5-pack. It would include Carlo Veloso with flames, Nigel Gearsley with flames, as well as Miguel Camino with flames, and Shu Todoroki with flames. Two canceled cars, two pretty interesting variants. Of course, those other two were already released, and I think that would also be a big moneymaker for Mattel. Any new pack that includes a new car is always going to be a hit, at least for a little while. Maybe not with like Michael Roeder, because people knew he was coming as a single, much cheaper, and it ended up being more correct, even though in terms of color, even though it did end up being a Thailand variant, so it doesn't look as nice when it comes to the eyes. So like you had that, but I think the other one would include Ivan, Lightning McQueen. What was his name? It was Alex Carville, and then it will include the BMW cameraman, who all appeared in that same scene where like McQueen thinks he's married, but it's Ivan or whatever. And then the final one, I think this could be a big hit. It would be the Next Gen Takeover 5-pack, Lightning McQueen, Daniel Suarez, Brick Yardley, what's his name? It's I'm trying to think of the name. What's this guy's name? It's it's either Bobby. I think it would be Cal Weathers. That's probably who I would take, Cal Weathers, and then you get Brick Yardley's sponsor in there. That would also be a very well thought out one. And Brick's sponsor was actually canceled during the Cars 3 line, so it wouldn't be entirely impossible to get the guy out. So hopefully, if anyone at Mattel sees this, that's how we as collectors would probably like to run the line. And I think even non-collectors, people who just buy it for the kids, could also get interested in it. I think those would be some good ideas. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.